a little bar is actually going to be visible or not. For the life of me, I can't tell. Oh, I need to put you slightly behind the logo, actually, Deck. You're cropping in front of the QRP logo. Can't be having that.
Can't be having that.
Okay. I think everyone looks fine in Discord. The dots look a little bit weird and choppy. I don't know why that's the case, but whatever. All right. 146 is the episode, yeah?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, I don't know why the dots look choppy. I can try and fix that as your intro in the show.
Choppy dots, choppy dots. Happy just to be.
We are
Choppy
live, by the way, if you wanted
dots.
to check it and stuff.
Okay, audio is coming all through fine. I think just by the looks of it, all of the video is a bit choppy. Caden, can you like move or something? Flap or something? So I can see if it's looking choppy.
It's coming through fine on OBS.
I think we're all right, actually. It's just the background, Jay. Just the background's a bit choppy. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Probably just because you're blurring it. Yeah.
It could just be, and the fact that I just have it quite scaled as well. Like maybe I just need to reduce.
Can you lower the res on it?
No.
Or even if it's really misbehaving, just pause it. I think that works. It'll just be a static background.
Yeah. I'm looking to just reduce its overall size. I've just sent us into the void.
Right.
Briefly. Yeah, you can go ahead and start.
Yeah, cool. We're jingling, are we?
Yes.
Sweet.
Sure.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 146th episode of the Quick Resume podcast, the best place on the entire internet to listen to people talk about games in places where Xbox games exist and places and platforms where Xbox games exist. There's three of us again today. Woohoo! That's fun. Just beneath me there is Tim. Say hi, Tim. He's hard at work, so.
Hello. Hi. Am I beneath you? I thought it was.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Right.
You are on Discord. Ah, God, you're not going to be. Yeah, that's so true, actually. And we've got Caden back from the
Hello.
front.
It's good to be back. Glad to see it's still operating like as a well-oiled machine. Glad to see it's still
as usual,
as professional always.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's been yet another. Caden, in your absence, like quite a lot has happened. So I'm going to put you on the spot in a minute. I just want to get a vibe check on some of the big happenings. You know, one of them was the PS5 Pro getting revealed. That was a big happening, among other things. I think Black Myth Wukong came out while you were away.
Keep in mind, I've been out of touch for the past 5 weeks. I will try my absolute best to keep up. But yeah, go on, just come at me, and I'll make something up. Well,
before we do that, and you fabricate things, it's been for a while now, 5 weeks. It's been really quiet on the Xbox side of things. Mostly, there were some layoffs last month. They couldn't help but step on a rake the second PlayStation got a bit of bad PR with the PlayStation Pro. And the Concord, Concord happened as well. That was the other thing. So on the docket today, generally, is just a bit of a smorgasbord. Yeah, a smorgasbord of gaming news. And honestly, most of them just make me angry more than anything. And so we're going to come round to them, but as a bit of a tease, right? The pure rage that I'm going to be expressing. Nintendo is suing the Palworld devs. This happened today. Nintendo is we're going to sue you because they're scumbags and they think that they own Video games.
Yeah,
they're
imaginary creatures. They think they own
Yeah,
imaginary,
imaginary
creatures.
creatures. Like crabbing. Like you don't own crabbing. Like I can go out and I can catch crabs. I can fish, Nintendo. You can't stop me doing that. So
Yes.
I'm sure that's going to prompt like a really level-headed and like intelligent discussion. But before we get there, I want to do the usual rounds. Caden, I wasn't really paying attention earlier when Tim asked you if you've been playing anything. Have you been playing anything?
Well, considering I've been back in the UK for 2 days, I've played some Space Marine 2, which has been pretty fucking badass. I'm sure you guys.
Yeah, I
already
thought we were
discussed that
waiting
quite a bit.
and gonna play that together. Fuck happened
Well,
with
yeah,
that?
I've not played it yet.
Saw you on it.
You lying?
You just
I
got
was-
caught in a lie, bro.
No.
You just
There's
cannot
that.
help yourself, can you?
Well, look, I can pretend I didn't play it when you guys play. How about that?
It's not the same,
That's
though, is it?
good. You won't though.
Oh, fine, fuck
You'll
it, I
speed
didn't play
run
anything.
everything.
I didn't play anything. Next, go. I didn't play anything.
I love how he's either just like completely like, yeah, he's just
So
on board, or
defensive.
he's just out. Yeah, he's just, I'm done.
Like we caught you in a lie, and now you're like, fuck you guys. I don't want to be here anyway.
That's time anyway. Fuck.
I mean, to be fair, we
great
never
communism.
actually we never actually like full confirmed we were going to play it together anyway. So you've been playing that? What, have you sunk a couple hours into it? Have you?
I think I'm about 6 hours now. Like not
Okay.
crazy amount.
Okay.
So got Space Marine. I got Black Myth Wukong. I'm ready to play that soon. I want to play that at some stage. And one game that's came out that I've already bought, I'm really excited to play, is Plucky Squire. Have you heard about that?
Oh yeah,
Came out.
yeah.
That looks awesome. It looks so
That
much
looks
fun.
really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I picked that up as well. So they're my 3 games I'm going to be playing for the next couple of weeks.
Nice, nice man.
Yeah,
They're all pretty good
that's great.
choices, and they're all quite nicely varied as well. Actually, they're quite.
Exactly, they're very nice.
They're quite
Yeah.
nice.
I thought
Yeah.
destroying some aliens and monkey time. I thought we'd go for a nice bit of chill with Plucky Squire for sure.
Mhm.
Well, what about you guys? I mean, I've obviously been out of touch. Like, have you guys been jumping onto anything else, or any other games popped up that we've put a bit of time into?
What have we? So since you've been gone,
Yeah.
we have done. I'm just trying to think. So we did Path of the Goddess. I don't think you were around when we were playing that. So we played and completed that. Me and Deck both loved that game. Like it's extra.
Cool.
I still think
That's
it's
my
Deck's
game of the year so
favorite.
far.
Yeah, it's still Deck's favorite game of 2024. So
Wow.
Just inching above Hellblade 2.
yeah, very
Wow.
high praise for that. Obviously we've just been playing Valorant, grinding on Valorant. What else? I did Sea of Stars. I played Sea of Stars and completed that. That was really good. Okay, I think I gave that like an 8.5. And then what else have I been playing? I'm not sure if there's actually anything else I've like sort of played and completed.
Well, we've got a couple of things
since
coming
you've
up,
been
haven't we?
gone.
So obviously Space Marine we're going to play through. We got Remnant 2 next week.
Yeah,
Next week?
yeah.
Mm.
I don't actually know.
I think it's next week.
And I'm on holiday actually next week for 2 weeks. So, and then when I come back, Metaphor ReFantasio's out, and I'm probably going to be playing that quite a lot. So that looks really good. But yeah, that's my
I
upcoming.
can't seem to picture what that is.
It's the same devs as like Persona, the Persona devs, Atlas, and they're basically
okay,
making
yeah.
like a they're making like a medieval style, like fantasy magic Persona sort of thing. It just looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of now. Yeah, definitely your kind of thing.
I'm super on board. I've been quite excited for that for a while.
What's that supposed to mean, Caden?
You know what it means.
I even started Dragon Quest again. I was talking about Dragon Quest.
Oh,
eh?
Do you not get genre fatigue? It's so mental. Like you just consume.
You're worse than the
you're a
COD
piggy.
boys.
You're a little piggy.
Well, all right, Caden. All right, pull your punches there, man. That's not cool. I've been called some pretty bad things in my life.
Sorry, man. That was
God boy, God boy.
That was.
God boy.
I'll fucking end this stream. I think I won't. Yeah. So, and I think that's basically what I've been doing. I think that's what you kind of missed on, Caden, what we've been playing. And then what I've been playing this week is, I started Dragon Quest again, which is kind of fun. And I have just been playing a little bit more Valorant. I don't think there's anything else I've been playing this week.
Great. I've just been playing Dragon's Dogma. I'm still playing Dragon's Dogma in the
Still
background,
going.
but I'm just like heavy into the Valorant grind right now. That's just what I'm wanting to do when I have like an hour free right now. But I'm still doing
I
Dragon's
do
Dogma.
keep forgetting about Dragon's Dogma because that came out whilst I was away last time. And it's a bit of a sleeper hit, isn't it? Apparently, it's very, very good. It's just clearly not got the same momentum behind it as like Warhammer or Black Myth, I suppose.
Yeah, I've mentioned it for the last few weeks, but it's like I am enjoying my time with it, but it is like surprisingly low budget in some ways. Like it is still does still have this clunkiness of like the first game as well, but it is like from a mechanical level still quite a unique game like the first one is. So it is good, and the more you keep playing it, the more you kind of like really like get into it. But yeah, I mean it's good, man. Like I'm happy to be playing it. It's a great game to sort of have in the background as a single player game. We also got a new agent in Valorant as well, didn't we, Tim? Since Caden's been gone.
Oh
so
yeah,
that was other things.
Oh yeah, Vice. Yeah, she's kind of like my main actually. I mean, I wouldn't say like full on, but I do play her quite a lot. She's pretty sick. And Age of Mythology was the other one I forgot to mention. We've been playing.
Yeah.
I've been playing that for a little bit. I haven't sunk like a crazy amount into it, a few hours like max, but it's good.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Well, maybe we'll go into it.
Clean.
I'm assuming they're still doing. Are they still doing the co-op missions and stuff? Because I want to play that.
I don't know actually. We haven't tried. I don't know if they do like the co-op campaign or anything like that, or if it's just jump into a lobby and fucking fight each other from square one sort of co-op. I'm not actually certain on that. At some point we should probably research that and have an answer for our audience. It's been like 2-3 weeks. But I'll do that now, actually.
You won't find a straight answer, I guarantee, unless you actually go into the game.
You could forge alliances and blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. I'm not getting much here.
I know that because I've also looked and just did not get a straight answer. What else have I said I played? I played Still Wakes the Deep a few weeks back, which I didn't love, to be honest. It was fine. Oh, that's it, to be honest. Yeah, just kind of vibing. Just kind of vibing with that sort of stuff. So yeah, I guess that's where we're at. And while we were on the topic, and we'll come back around to this later because I've got it on the notes, but I guess we don't have to. But like at the end of the month as well, with all of these things coming up in the next few months, there is of course the Starfield DLC at the end of the month as well, on the 30th, which I suspect I'll be the only one out of the three of us playing that, because I already own it because I've got the premium. But I'm excited to see like what's going on with that. They've like de-scoped it to make it so it's just one planet, and it's about like the religious heretics that you hear about and see very little about in the main campaign, like the cult guys who religious a giant cosmic serpent. And of course they've done all of the quality of life updates up to this point now, so you can now play at 60. There's a buggy, there's like difficulty sliders, they've made like the menu systems better and things like that. So I'm looking forward to jumping back in. I really enjoyed my time with Starfield despite all the controversy at the time. I did have a good time overall, and I'm excited to see what they do with this, especially as this is more of like the traditional Bethesda experience. So, and they're typically pretty good with DLCs. They've got a pretty good track record with good DLCs. So, yeah, I'm excited to play that at the end of the month. I say the end of the month like it's a while away, but it's like 10 days away. This month is just like
yeah, it's crazy.
Oh god,
it's been longer for me, I guarantee.
Yeah.
Do you think they will actually do a cosmic serpent? Or do you think they're just still going to allude at this god and not actually show it?
Well, I think it'll be like, there'll be like an explanation or something like that as to what it is.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
It's Ouroboros, dude.
Yeah.
No.
Infinity.
But I mean, there are like monsters in Starfield, right? And I think like one of the main premises of that DLC is that there's like a rupture in space-time, and it's like multiverse monsters are coming through. So I mean, maybe, but it's also not like a creature feature game. So
yeah,
exactly. You're not going to be playing it, so who cares if there's Cosmic Serpent or not.
I just want to know, man, and I want to
Yeah.
know your score and how it goes and stuff like that. Because I didn't hate Starfield, I didn't love it, to be honest, but I didn't hate it.
I think it's quite an interesting game to still talk about, really. Like Starfield, it's a strange one.
In what way?
Yeah, it's what? Sorry.
In what way? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what's
As in
what's
the
vibe?
discourse around it, like
Mhm.
it's so funny because I do remember playing the game and being like, "This is all right. Like this is good fun," and then you go online, and you're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
But then I
This is
feel like
it.
it was only really an issue like 3 or 4 weeks down the line. It was never like a launch issue. Do you know what I mean? People were happy with it when it came out, and then they were like,
Yeah.
actually, then I guess once the initial excitement went away.
Once everyone
this
experienced
is it.
1,000+ loading screens, they thought,
yeah.
I'm getting a little bit sick of this now.
Yeah.
Well, there was a bit of a weird, there was definitely a bit of a weird time with it where like the first 1 to 2 weeks felt quite good. And then slowly the discourse kind of got a bit muddier and muddier. And it's strange because obviously a lot of the reviewers, like the initial reviewers landed quite strongly. It was like an 88 and then it slid down and down and down. And Open Critic is still at like an 85, but I just think the way that the game's made, there's a sort of person that really hates that design. Like it's really quite hard to tolerate. Whereas something like Skyrim, it's very conventional and it's easy to kind of you're like used to that. And Fallout, it's a world and you walk around in it. Whereas Starfield, it's if you don't like loading screens, you're gonna find it really hard to like manage Starfield. But it is quite funny because even then we've seen games like Star Wars Outlaws come out recently, and I remember that being propped up against Starfield at the time when it was being previewed of like, what, look at this, you can go in and out of space and fly through the atmosphere. And actually the game got dinged for that quite badly, like Outlaws, because it was just a glorified loading screen. It was just a loading screen that you controlled left to right a little bit. It wasn't like full exploration like No Man's Sky is. But ultimately, like with what you were talking about, Kane, and like how it felt at the time, like it definitely did felt that there was a strong, like smaller percentage of people who are really loud about how much they hated Starfield. And I think that dragged the whole conversation down. Not to say that I don't think it's fair that a lot of people came away from Starfield and felt that was okay. It's probably Bethesda's worst yet. Like, I think that's totally fair and fine. But I think that there was such a strong negative component that you went online that's all you saw, because that's how the internet works. Anecdotally, I haven't spoke to a single person who didn't like Starfield.
Yeah.
Tim is the coolest on it, of like, it was okay. And then there's like you and Ridge and Jamie. We all said it was great. So I don't know anybody else who has said otherwise, like anecdotally.
Yeah, at worst, it's still an okay game, right? Yeah, I think my final score was like a 7. I think I gave it like a 7 out of 10 or something, which is obviously quite a bit lower than what most people would. But yeah, for me, it just felt too disjointed. It was just too like start and stop for me. Like every time I felt myself getting even slightly like enveloped in the story in some way, it's just the way the game was built and designed just threw me out of that experience immediately. I always felt like I was playing a game and, very self-aware of that fact a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, it just didn't gel with me, really. But I still played it from start to finish. And still had a fine time. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I can totally see why someone would find that off-putting, especially with the game's so big. I guess it's not so long if you just beeline this, but if you play it like you're meant to play a Bethesda game, yeah, I can definitely see that putting someone off. Yeah, no doubt. So hopefully with this DLC, I wonder if that will address. I wonder if that crowd will go back and if that will address those concerns, with it being that it just takes place on one planet. Like, I do wonder if that will, tickle that crowd's pickle. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get onto some of the like more general industry topics for this week. As I said, we're starting out with Nintendo. We're dinging all the platforms today. They all fucking suck, all of them. We're starting with Nintendo. We're starting with Team Red, suing the Palworld developers, Pocket Pair for Palworld, They've waited. They've lingered in the shadows. They've waited for Palworld to
get enough money for them
get
to pay the
that
lawsuit.
bag.
Yeah.
And now they're striking, while the iron's hot. And if you, I think, where have I put it? Have I put it in here? I might have to just quickly paste it into the store, into one of the notes. But the reason it's come about is because Nintendo has now decided, or we don't know specifically what the suing, like on what grounds it is, but we can assume it's to do with a patent they have, and the patent, no joke, that they have is, and the concept that art they used for it is a person throwing a thing at a bird and catching the bird. And I just think this is the most. What the fuck are we doing here? Why has that been approved? What are we doing?
Yeah, didn't they patent like some kind of physics in Zelda as well or something? Or
yeah, they patented what was it? Was it no, I can't. It was like yeah, it was like making a board and then putting wheels on the board and then then reacting on a downward slope as if gravity was in effect. They literally tried to patent physics. Like they tried to just be like, gravity, that's ours.
Yeah.
Don't even try to put that in your games. That's ours.
That's crazy, man.
Fucking hate them.
So they're suing it for like the action of like throwing and creature capture.
It's on page. Yeah, have a look at page 9 and 10 on the notes. You see, I've got a tweet there from Stephen Totillo, and you can see in that top left quadrant. It's like we're kind of assuming that this is what the litigation is.
Looks
in
like you
regards
drew this, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not bad, I don't think. And it's just, this winds me up. Like, so I just want to get some like temperature checks on this. Like, this is so scary. Like, if you're Pocket Pair, if you're a Palworld developer and Nintendo comes for you, it's man. There's like 7 of them. It's such a small company. They're about to get the crushing weight of Nintendo, like bankrupting them over and over again with court fees. Like, they're near enough fucked. And that's if they don't win the court case. This is going to cost them so much money in legal fees. I mean, what do we think? Like, am I stupid for getting so heated about this? I think this is so fucking brain dead stupid.
Well, I think Nintendo are typically very famous for being the sewers, aren't they? Like, this
quite
is not
petty,
the first time that they've
sewers. Yeah, they're full of shit.
Yeah. Oh,
that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So they've done this a lot of times with things.
Yes, they do. They shut down emulators. They shut down the no fun allowed unless we make it for full price.
Yeah.
Dickheads.
They I just think it's really stupid because at what point are we gonna draw the line here? Because like I understand like if they just completely just like ripped off like some like genuine designs or like sound effects or like some things you would potentially like sue over, right? Like realistically, like I feel like it's more likely you can sue over some of the designs, which obviously clearly isn't, but than something like this. That seems more feasible.
Well, it could be. We don't have enough details yet, but we're like, this is just one of the patents that have been spotted, and it might be in regards to this. I mean, they might make the case in court as well. Oh, look at this. Look at Depresso. It's really similar to fucking Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet? Is that what he's called?
I don't know.
Django Fett?
No, it's called Wobbuffet.
What?
The tall blue guy with the little poop coming out of his butt. Yeah. He's not really depressed.
No. Yeah, so I mean, they could make their case, but I feel like I don't know if they would have a case there, to be honest. Like, it's just colorful fictional creatures. Like, why not go for Digimon next or Dragon Quest or really just anything, I understand that there is a similarity there, but I don't know if it's suable.
Yeah, because like you said, they would have sued all those fucking companies if that was the case, right? So, it must be something very specific. like these weird pains that they have. But yeah, it just seems so unnecessary, right? I mean, they still like just let Palworld be Palworld, right? You still have Pokemon. Like it's not like Palworld is quite literally putting you out of business. You still have like the most lucrative like franchise on the fucking planet, like by far. Like just chill out, guys. Like in the scheme of things, it's pennies.
Yeah.
And like Dex said, there's like it's like 7 people fucking built this in like a garage. Like just chill out. Like what's going on there?
They literally like sold their limbs, their organs, that their kids' like education fund. And Nintendo are like, we can make like a good couple grand from this, from ruining these, from fucking like making these guys off themselves. Like, I think we should do it. I think we should do it. Like clinking whiskey glasses around the boardroom. Like, we should do it. I need another yacht. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's so extra frustrating, especially because of like the trajectory that Pokemon has been on. Like, and I say this as someone who hasn't played all the recent Pokemon games. I'm just going off community sentiment and reviews and everything. That like, especially the recent ones, I think it's pretty undeniable that the quality was just not there.
Oh, yeah.
So then, like an actual competitor comes up in the weirdest way imaginable, and Nintendo are just going to try and sue him. How about make a better fucking video game? How about that? I don't know. How about release a game that works?
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Yeah, like take that competition and use it, right? Use it to make a better game.
Yeah, just put an Uzi in your game and you'll be fine. It's clear. The market has spoken.
Yeah, I'll just make a game that doesn't run at 10 frames and is so buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think Violet is probably like the only Pokemon game I haven't actually beat because I just couldn't. I couldn't get past how awful that game performed. It was like me clicking spacebar as quick as I could. Like that game performed to like flick through slides. It was that bad. And so many bugs, man, and just shit like my game crashing, me falling through the map like so consistently. And it's like it's the biggest franchise in the world. Like, can you not pump a bit more money into this? Can you not make it run more than 10 frames? And it's not like they're pushing the boat out either. It's not like their world was like enormous and expansive and like, I don't know, man. People claiming the Switch was the reason it was shit as well. I'm sorry, but they just made a shit game. Whether that came out on the Switch too or not.
Monster Hunter runs flawlessly on it. So if that can, then
exactly. Yeah, you got a game like Rise that kind of runs like butter on the Switch, and it's like Rise is excellent. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a fucking cop out, isn't it? But yeah, it's just not a good look. But I don't know. People don't give a shit what Nintendo do. So nothing. Yeah. They're not gonna get gaslit for it. They're not gonna get anything. They're just gonna, like Dex said, they're just gonna drive these 7 people to the brink of insanity and then make another shit Pokemon game and then move on with their lives.
Yeah, and then they're gonna release the Switch 2. And it's going to sell 60 billion sales. Everyone's going to buy 7. It's going to be nuts. Like it always like messes me up when I found out about Dragon Ball Z on the PS2. I can't remember which one it was. Budokai, the one that we played, Tim, where I've spoken to this with you before, and you wiggle the analog sticks in the loading screens, and the little green cell babies come up out the thing, and we thought it was so fun. We thought it was part of the game. Like we were loading, we were like, fucking let's do it, and they came and you see how many you could get on the screen. It was a mini game loading screen. It was a loading screen mini game. And I found out like 6 years ago that Bandai Namco patented loading screen mini games. That's why you never
Oh my god, what a time to cut out. It's like you just raged out. You back? Turn your camera back on.
It was hands in the air as well. The passion.
Yeah, you were literally just like, you were like pointing at the screen and you just fucking died. That was hilarious.
I was so animated. I smacked my adapter and smacked the like everything off my mag.
Nice,
man, that's good. And that's why you never see games in loading screens, because Bandai Namco have just done that, and they've never used it again. By the way, they've never done that again. They just have that, and now nobody gets to use mini games.
I always remember like there was quite a few on the PS2 like that. I remember the old Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games. I remember you used to like wiggle the stick, and the flames on the letters would move with your stick.
Yeah.
And it's annoying because on the Xbox, because it loads so quickly, you don't get to play the loading screen.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh.
So for the one period in history where loading screens were like, really long, nothing ever happened with it because some cunty company just sat on that patent and just didn't let anybody else do it. So fucked up.
So does that include? Is that like anything interactive? Like, for example, is it like games specifically, or is it like interactivity? Because you remember, like Skyrim, you could like spin around the 3D models that they had when you were loading. You could like move like the sword. Like, would that count? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's just mini games because I know there are some games where there's like tooltips where you can like swipe through them. So I guess that would be like a type
So it's just
of
like an actual
right?
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So dumb, dude.
And like the Shadow of Mordor, that's another one I always come back to. The what's it called? The Nemesis system.
Oh yeah.
They patented that and then never used it. Never used it again.
And now they're making Gollum and the Shire cozy game instead of making a new Nemesis system.
Maybe that's where it'll be. Maybe that's where the Nemesis system will show up again.
In the Shire cozy game.
In the Shire cozy game.
Fucking Sam stomps on your crops. Yeah, he's become a Nemesis.
The Defiler.
Sam the Defiler.
The Sunflower
the
Defiler.
Man.
God, that's hilarious.
That's crazy. The thing is, it's just more of like largely more of a like philosophical point of like patenting, art. Like, imagine if I just went out there and I drew this really great tree. Everybody's like, that's a great tree. It would never happen, but just imagine it. And then I was like, I'm going to patent the color green. I'm going to patent trees.
That is the thing. Companies do patent colors.
So right, but it's different, isn't it? Like, nobody has stopped using the color blue. Like, it doesn't seem to be something which is as bad as in games.
I mean, yeah, but that's just because there's a lot of colors. But then, like, there's like Disney, like in Disneyland, they've painted like all the infrastructure a certain color because apparently you don't react to it being in that color. So Disney just own that color.
Yeah, there's like house colors, isn't there? That I think companies can get a bit funny about. But it's a problem across like the board, but I think it's even more of it feels like even more of a problem with games because history tells us that companies just patent it and they never use it again.
Yeah,
it's like they create a novel mechanic and then it just never gets used again.
If Disney were known for being the mini game loading screen guys, you'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, fair enough. But like you said, because they're not doing it and they're not using it, it's like, what are you doing it for then? Why take that away from someone?
It's so irritating. I think it's completely fucked how much we let these companies get away with, but whatever.
Nice, man. Our audio listeners will love that.
That just came out. That was a rage bubble. That was.
You've been very ragey today, I have to admit. You're very invested right now. Is it just the three of us being backs just brought some extra emotion into you today?
Maybe I just feel like I've got to like bring some sort of energy, that's all, I guess. So I just start shouting.
Start screaming, shouting, knocking out your adapter. Yeah, I mean,
you're next.
There's got to be the unhinged one in the podcast. You're the unhinged one. That's what you are.
I've got to do it. Next up, the Switch 2, boys. The Switch 2. There's leaks for the Switch 2. I've got a really nice little hyperlink. I made you a little hyperlink just there. You can click on it and you can go to it.
This is the one
I can see all of your cursors getting closer to it on the notes.
I think this is the one. Is this the one I saw? Yeah, kind of bland looking.
It's just a Switch. It's just a Switch.
It literally just looks like a Switch that's been sanded down.
I have to pretend like I've not just bought an Asus ROG Ally as well.
Man.
Yeah. That's rough, man.
Yeah.
How much that
is kind of rough.
You just don't want to say.
They're like £700. So we were talking
Yeah,
about this just last week.
I got the good version as well.
Oof.
Hmm.
So
X.
did you approach
I
the
would've-
400 digit, the 4-digit mark?
Yo.
No, I'm not in the 4-digit mark, but it's that way.
All right, okay.
Everything's that way eventually.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah.
I've been considering it, but I'm just holding out because it just seems like Xbox is going to make a handheld at this point. So I'm going to hold out.
With the ROG Ally, you can do Games Pass on it, which is pretty sick, and then you can stream and shit like that from the ROG Ally as well. But I know what you mean.
I've heard it's finicky as fuck.
Yeah. No, you are right, but yeah.
So yeah,
just because I have multiple libraries now, I'm thinking that'll work for me. But
cool.
the Xbox One will be interesting.
I mean, everybody speaks really highly of it, so yeah. But it'll be interesting. It would definitely be interesting to see how these this emergence of handheld PCs stack up to the Switch 2.
Yeah, because it was always the Steam Deck, wasn't it, for a while? But then obviously, is the Switch the highest sold console now, or is it still the PS2?
There's really some fuckery going on there. It's really close, and PlayStation keep going, oh, actually, we just sold like 10,000 more copies of the PS2. Just found them in the back, and I don't know. Like they keep like updating it.
So you think it's the Switch?
It's going to be the Switch probably in the next 2 years.
Yeah. Because it's a fantastic console. It's really good. So I'm interested to see what they do with the Switch 2 for sure. It just needs to run games better. That's all it needs to do.
I weirdly think they don't really need to stack up against the Steam Decks and the ROG Allies. No. I don't know, because Switch kind of like even the fucking current Switch, the only Switch, is still like outselling these things. And
what did you just call it?
The current Switch. What did you think I called it?
It's just I said something else afterwards.
Did I?
I wasn't listening, so I can't corroborate. Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's still kind of outselling those things anyway, because I feel like it just kind of just does what the Switch does. It's the home of indie games, and like little small fun games, and you can fucking play Mario on it. Done. And Zelda.
But that's the thing. I don't think there's much of I don't think the people buying a Steam Deck or an Asus ROG Ally are the same people who are going to be like, I've got to choose Switch or Steam Deck, Switch or Steam Deck. I think the most of the people buying a Switch are the people who want to get access to Nintendo's exclusive library. I think that's pretty much it. Like without that, the Switch ain't doing that well, but that's because they're great at it. Like they just churn out like 60 Mario games and 40 Zelda games, and people love that shit. So they've earned it, and they put out these big hits as well. That score really well along the way too. So to me, it's that like if you want access to the Nintendo library, you're still going to get the Switch. Although I will say, like I've sung. I don't love the Switch personally, but I do think like the Switch is a near perfect console in terms of executing on what they wanted to do.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
I think they really just executed that really well. And I do think the hybrid form factor is like the future. It does seem like that's the way Xbox is going to go. I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation copied it sometime down the road as well. It's clear it has this mass appeal, like allure, doesn't it? Like that's the reason it sold so well. And I think it just makes it's just intuitive, isn't it? I can play it handheld and I can dock it. Perfect, best of both worlds. It just works.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I have to admit.
Go on. No, you go, Tim.
I know. I was actually just going to say. I think the longer the Switch has kind of gone on in its life cycle, I think the more I've actually fallen out of love with it. I don't know. I barely ever use my Switch now, whereas I actually did like at the beginning. But like, I don't know, man. I like boot it up. I go to the e-store. I check out stuff. Everything's always full price apart from the weird fucking 69p flash games. And I end up just turning it off again. I just don't do anything with it.
The thing is, Nintendo's services suck. Like, whereas Xbox is the other way around. Like, they're having trouble getting, or they have bad reputation at the very least for like having this consistent lineup of like knockout exclusives. But their services are really good. Like, Game Pass is great, Cloud is great. Their online service is really robust. You know, their store has been overhauled with regular deals now. You know, it's the complete other way around for the Switch. Like, if I'm booting it up, it's to play a Nintendo exclusive, and most of their library just doesn't really speak to me. So that's kind of the main thing for me why I don't use my Switch super often.
So what would make you guys use the Switch 2 more than a regular Switch then? Or,
Well, that's
or
just
maybe
it.
even think of investing into it.
I don't think I'm going to buy a Switch 2.
Okay.
To be brutally honest,
I won't be rushing to get one.
Yeah, I'm probably the same. I probably will wait until Christmas.
I don't know actually, because we're going to say that, and then they're going to release Mario Kart like 10 or whatever the next one is, and we're all going to shit ourselves. Like, let's face it.
Yeah, we'll all connect on our mobiles and speak through their
Yeah.
app. Is that still a thing? We have to fucking. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, they still don't have an online party system. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think I'm really going to buy a Switch unless something really makes me get one. You know, which was the case with the first one as well. I was not really that interested in the first one, and then I was like, Breath of the Wild, and I went out and bought one. So, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But I'm not interested really in the slightest right now. So.
Especially with this like a rumored Xbox handheld coming up, I'm just holding fire on all of this. Like, and like if that sucks, then I'm not going to get that either. But like, I'm really banking on that being like a good system where I can play all of my Xbox games, maybe have some other storefronts on it, you know, if they manage to pull that off, like a Steam storefront or whatever. That would be like awesome. And especially if it's like dockable or it's hybrid, you know, I'd really be looking at that like quite seriously. So, you know, it's kind of interesting, like, you know, with all of that said, the Switch 2 just seems to be a beefed up Switch, right? It's meant to be around like the PS4 Pro in terms of like power, which I think is pretty good considering its form factor, right? It's quite small and light by the looks of it. Still has the side like Joy-Cons, but they're like magnetic rather than slidable.
Which sounds cool. Sounds really nice. I get flashbacks to, you know, the old Macs fridge where they had like the MagSafe chargers.
Oh yeah,
snapped.
They were great.
I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah,
love
they were
that
great.
snap. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit bigger as well by the looks of it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll go bigger screen and everything. But yeah, I feel like that's all they need to do, right? Like, people fucking eat the Switch up. Just keep it as it is, but just beef it up a little bit. Just inject some roids in there, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And I find like, and this is the thing of like why I get so annoyed when we talk about. I don't get annoyed, like, but it's definitely an interesting conversation of like the trajectory of Xbox when we think about like how they struggle with Xbox One, and then they did like, you know, a conventional, powerful Series X, and then a slightly weaker Series S, and in terms of the games, they've been doing quite well. You know, actually, they've been doing quite well. They haven't had like a mega hit, but they've been doing quite well in terms of general like quality control. And again, like Game Pass has still been good, but they haven't had this turnaround moment in the way that the Wii U did. Like the Wii U, exponentially worse than whatever Xbox has done this gen, whatever Xbox did last gen. Like that thing sold like shit. And then they were just like, right, let's just do the Wii U again, slice the sides off, and make it so you can pop it onto the TV. That's all they did. That's all they did, and that's the big like difference there. And a really good launch game, arguably, with Breath of the Wild. Probably got the wheel spinning, but you see my point.
Yeah. Actually, it is a good point. I never really thought about it. But yeah, they are remarkably close, aren't they? But my God, was the Wii U just so shit. And it was just like so ugly and uncomfortable to hold. Yeah. Like it was just awful. It's like a slab. It's fucking horrible. And it was so like hollow as well. Like you felt like if you dropped it, it would genuinely just like shatter. And I know like a lot of things
like
do that.
Loose in it when you shake it around.
Yeah, like you could like shake the fucking circuit boards loose. It just felt like hollow. It was just really, it was bizarre, man. Yeah, really weird.
It was a weird one. I remember seeing all the adverts for it, and you could like hold it up and like aim at your TV with it. And I was like, this looks like something my arms hurt. Like, I don't know, this feels like a step back from the Wii. Yeah, and it's just. But then they just were like, here's the Switch. Enjoy. by 60 billion.
Yeah. They're never going to do anything different again, I don't think.
Yeah, unless times change. All right. Well, that's the gist of it. Super interested to see how that goes. It will be definitely a big like console reinvigoration moment, probably there alongside with GTA next year. Although supposedly GTA might have been delayed until 2026, so we'll have to see.
No
But
way. Avowed
nonetheless,
Game of the Year.
it's about game of the year. That's right. It's finally its moment to shine. In our final general industry topic for today, Dragon Age Veilguard previews went up. Very positive. Very, very
Really?
positive.
I was very
Very,
impressed
very,
to see
very, very
how
positive.
positive people were looking at it, because,
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's not what I want at all. And I feel like I think a lot of other Bioware fans are thinking it's not what they want either. But like you said, a lot of people are playing it and they're like, it's actually not too bad.
And
But
they
I
are
do think
Bioware
they
fans.
have gone towards a God of War route more so than a Dragon Age route, from what I've heard in general. A bit more of that kind of combat.
Okay.
Which is no problem. No problem
No, I mean,
with me.
not necessarily.
That is still the best third person combat, like melee combat.
Yeah, as if it's like
ever.
bad. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
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 So you said Hellblade was
I think-
Hellblade too.
The best combat.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it's very
interesting,
very deep,
very
very
unique.
complex, and very unique. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I really liked Dragon Age Origins. I tried to give the second one a go, and I couldn't really click with it. And Inquisition was like good.
It was great.
I liked Inquisition.
I thought it was good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's right. That is fucked up though. Like it was
Yeah,
not.
that was a
game of
botched
the
ass
year.
game of the year. There's just nothing
That
else
was the
came
first
out.
game. It was the first TGAs ever
Yeah.
in 2014.
Yeah.
So like I think that probably played a role in it, but. I don't think it's at least with the level of games we see these days. I don't know. I think a lot of people think back on that in retrospect and was like, that was a weak year. Like it must have been.
Yeah.
But it was good. Like I think Inquisition was good. I think I put a decent amount of time into it. I didn't love it. But I really liked that universe. I really liked Origins. So like I'm definitely interested in the world. And some of the original trailers were a bit like, I'm not sure. But the more and more gameplay I've seen, I'm like on board, man. Like I think this looks good actually. I'm kind of into this. So I'm quite excited. I'm getting like I can feel myself getting quite excited for like one of these more.
I think I'm probably more interested in the kind of what's that? Not the setting, but the attitude, I guess, towards the game in regards, because obviously the trailer was all like
reception.
It's all like, oh, there's this guy and this guy, and like, oh, let's save the world kind of thing, and it was really dumb and stupid. I'm wondering if they're carrying that tone into the actual game itself. From what I've heard, it sounds like there's a lot of quite meaningful choices and decisions and stuff that affect the gameplay quite a lot, and it's not as cheeky or gamey as I think that trailer made it look like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, funnily enough, yeah. I mean, I've watched a couple videos on this as well, and one of the YouTubers I watched as well said that when they went to the preview event and they talked to them about like that trailer and stuff like that, the staff and everything, and apparently they weren't even that keen on releasing the trailer themselves. The developers behind it, apparently they didn't actually like it when they saw it as well, and they didn't think it was a accurate representation, but I don't know, someone up at the top of the EA, maybe it was just like, no, we want to push this and we want to make it like seem like this. So yeah, maybe that feeling was not just from the audience, but yeah, it sounds like it's kind of from the devs as well. And yeah, from what I hear, there's actually like a decent amount of like grittiness to this game, and it can be quite dark, and yeah, like the choices are quite quite deep and quite good from what I hear. Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised, and I have to admit, I'm not completely like, I never thought at any point, oh, I'm buying Veilguard, but like right now I'm thinking, maybe I'll buy Veilguard.
I'm thinking I'm back.
I'm back.
I still think I'll wait for a discount, in my opinion, but obviously game's not out yet. There's no reviews or anything, so. But
well, I always get a 50% discount anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, I've got Rich, who's I think he may have bought FIFA.
Lucky you.
Huge, man. Let's go. I'm
Yeah.
up for a game of FIFA after this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather pull my veins out until they dinged around my body.
Ooh.
Dinged.
Yeah, like ding, 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 like pings off my joints. You know.
I don't think that's how veins work, but
What do you fucking know? How many
Vein
people have you
boy.
fucking skinned alive?
I don't think that's what qualifies you to know veins.
How many people have you flayed? No one. I do it all the time.
All right, man. I'm sorry.
No.
Twang away at your veins.
God,
Be my guest.
so angry.
You good?
I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? I think Dragon Age has actually, by the sounds of it, has a running for Game of the Year. Like I think it's probably going to end up in the Game of the Year nominations. Notice how I haven't said it doesn't have a chance at winning Game of the Year because it's going to be
Astrobot.
fucking Astrobot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing else stands a chance against Astrobot.
Mhm.
But it might get a nomination if it's lucky, unless Astrobot just gets all 6 of the nominations.
I think even if GTA 6 stealth dropped, I still think Astrobot might get it this year.
Yeah. Bought you a pizza and a house. Astrobot would still get it.
Yeah. But yeah, Palworld, let's get.
What did you think about that Astrobot reception, Caden?
Did you ever play the demo on the PS5?
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, like
Good
so
fun.
I already knew it had a good foundation. So I was just really excited to hear it did really well. Like I thought the Astrobot demo thing, whether it was great. Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that Astrobot did so well. I don't think it's something that I'm really in the right kind of. Like, I don't think I'm going to play it anytime soon, but it's definitely something I'll.
Yeah, but do you
keep an
think
eye out,
it
or maybe even
deserves to be in the top, like, 3 games ever made in the history of games?
Is that what people are saying?
I think it's
a
Open
95
Critic score is-
Open Critic game, which means it's the same score as
95?
Elden Ring. It's the same score as Elden Ring, Caden. Think of all of your favorite games ever made.
Yeah,
Astrobot
probably.
is better than it.
Yeah.
98% of critics recommend Elden Ring. 100% of people recommend Astrobot. There are only 2 games rated higher ever than Astrobot.
Zelda.
I'm pretty sure it's Mario Odyssey, which is a 96. I'm just going
Ooh.
to just type away very quickly right now.
And yeah, I can't remember the other
No,
one.
97. Holy shit, that's so
Fucking hell.
fucked up. That is so fucked up.
97.
Mario Odyssey got 97.
Fuck. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. And I can't remember what the other ones are. What the other one is.
I mean, that is pretty crazy. I actually didn't know it was that good. I knew it was off. I knew it was 90s. No, I didn't know it was 95.
That was our kind of feeling as well. That it's like, yeah. So I'm just looking at top 6, right? 97 Mario Odyssey. That's number 1. Number 2 is Breath of the Wild at 96. Number 3 is Baldur's Gate, and this is only on Open Critic, so it's just one of the aggregates. Number 4 is 96 Tears of the Kingdom. Number 5 is 96 Red Dead Redemption 2. And then number 6 is GTA 5 and 95. So Astrobot makes it tied 6th best game of all time, up there with GTA 5, Elden Ring. Yeah, it's above God of War, Last of Us, Persona, Hades.
Yeah, and
I mean,
that
fair play, like fair enough.
and that's
I
kind of the
think it's
thing.
very-
And we've had this rant. We did have this rant already, but like
We did.
I just don't get it. Like as like clean and as fun and as yeah, that's all I can think about to describe this game. As it would be, like how is it getting scores like that? Like I just don't get it. And like I was watching like reviews on it, and they were like, it's just so fucking innovative in its level design. And he's just jumping on moving platforms and beating up a metal squid, and I'm like, really? Is this really like innovative? Like to the point that it's clashing with something like Elden Ring? I don't know, man.
It really feels like
It's
that meme, with the Beyond Meat guys, where they're like, pointing behind them.
them. Yeah.
Like just Astrobot like punching a God of War looking boy, and they're like, "Whoa!" And like I've watched it, like the game looks great. Like I said, Astro's Playroom was great. It was
Yeah.
actually great. So I can totally see this being good. Asobi are a fantastic studio. I guess like as we spoke about, platformers just aren't necessarily our thing. So that's really what it comes down to. They're just not super our thing. So it's hard for us to watch it and look at a 95 and really appreciate that. And as well, like it definitely appeals to the PlayStation audience as well, doesn't it? Like it's like this whole nostalgic thing. And if that influences your like score or review of the game, that's totally fair. The game is made for you. The game is made for you. So yeah.
You're forgetting about the controller as well. How much of an impact that is on the game. That's just something we don't really experience with Xbox.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So
That's true.
Yeah, and it was good in the first one. Like it was quite fun to play around with, but it's just yeah, I guess sometimes you see like hardware get dinged for what's the word that people use? Gimmicky. That's what they say.
Yes.
It's gimmicky. But that clearly isn't the case here. A lot of people feel it was, really like quite additive to the experience. So maybe it is. It's just like it's a really high score. That's all. This is a really high score. Top six games of all time. That Astrobot. So, I think this would be a really good segue to move over. We've pinged Nintendo. It's time to move over and ping PlayStation now, and we'll save Xbox till last. Caden, quick vibe check. PS5 Pro came out while you're away. Concord came out while you're away.
Yeah.
Also left
Concord Game of
while
the Year.
you were away.
Yeah, it did.
It came out and died while you were away.
That's so true, yeah. Did you have any thoughts on any of those things, like at all? Like, yeah, what do you think?
Well, we had a little exchange about Concord, didn't we, in regards to, like, I do think underneath all the bollocks, it is a good game from what I've seen, but it's just not been released or presented in a proper way, like at all. So it needs a full overhaul, but I think the foundation of the game itself is fine. And I think, like we were mentioning earlier, it's going to come back free to play, and it's going to be great, or be good. Sorry, I'm not going to say great. It'll be good. It'll pick up the slack where things like Overwatch and things like that have lost their audience, I think. In regards to the Pro, the thing that blows my mind the most is the difference in prices. So it's $700. Is that right? 700
quid
as well.
Yeah,
which I think somebody converted it so that £700 is the equivalent of $900 and something.
Yeah, we're getting
It's
shafted.
like, what the fuck? Like, what? That's insane in my opinion. Like, but yeah, so
it is insane.
And it's funny because have you seen some of the comparisons of gameplay and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's like that fucking clip of that guy. He's like,
you see that mushroom there, which you couldn't see in the other one. You're just like, oh, yeah, I guess.
Oh, awesome, yeah. It's his next gen, isn't it?
I think it's a bit early, but then maybe it's also proving the fact that we're getting to a stage in games where I think we have mentioned this before, where it's getting to a stage now where more resolutions or more frames and stuff doesn't really matter now, because obviously we have got to a stage now where it just fucking looks stunning no matter what. So
yeah,
spending £700 on something where you've already got a PS5 that does what it says, yeah, that's a bit much. For a diehard Sony fan, sure, why not? But I think us, where it's not for us. I don't think anyone here is getting it.
Nope.
I've not heard anyone at work or any other friends mention they're getting it. So I think it's just for the diehards. And even then, I think that's a bit much.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't even see me getting a upgraded Xbox, if I'm honest. If they brought out an upgraded Xbox,
no, we wouldn't. We said the same thing. We said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
especially not at £700 price point.
No. Yeah, and obviously our libraries are fucking insane. So we would get the most out of anyone. And yeah, I'm not spending £700 on a new console, even though I literally just did that. But an Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, on an incremental upgrade. Yeah, handheld is understandably a bit different.
Yeah.
We were saying that like when we had the mid-gen refreshes last gen, it came out at the time where like 4K was just starting to become viable. Like it felt like a meaningful upgrade. You know,
The
like
Xbox One
if
X
I
was
can start
great.
playing 4K. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And there just isn't one this time. It's like you can see a mushroom a bit better. You can see the hairs a bit, and sometimes you're even looking at them. Like if you showed me the differences in some of the qualities, and you didn't show me which console was which, like a good chunk of the time I would actually get it wrong, I think, of like which was meant to be better. Like it's so incremental where it actually feels like it could just be artistic liberty, like in the difference between them. And maybe that will be different when games come out that have been built from the ground up with it in mind. Like maybe
Good
that
point.
will,
That's a good point.
there'll be some better things there. But from at least how they've tried to showcase it so far, it definitely feels very incremental for the price, and it's caused quite a bit of blowback online, which what doesn't, but and this is what we were talking about, where like Sony had like these two fluffs for once, and then Xbox were like, we're firing 700 people.
We're still here.
They didn't even need to. They were just standing there just like, you're fired. So yeah, that's what happened. So while we're on dinging Team Blue, while we're talking about incremental upgrades, Horizon Zero Dawn remastered, fellas.
Fuck's
It's
sake.
like
just
Last
got-
of Us 2 all over again, isn't it?
It just
It's the
got
same
leaked
thing.
by the ESRB. We've spoken about this on the show before, like a rumor of it, and there it is.
It's such
thoughts?
a beautiful game. I don't understand what we're trying to get out of it now. Like, yeah, same with Last of Us 2. What was the point? I'm pretty sure there was another one as well that's been remastered lately.
They've remastered everything.
Yeah, they have. They get a bit boring now.
It's just what they do, man. I mean,
Like,
I think
remember
this
the
one
days of
is.
fucking Dead Space and Resident Evil 2? Like, remember those? You're like, oh! And I feel like since then, they're just like fucking trying to do the same thing.
Do you mean Resi 4?
But did I say Resi 2? I still think I meant Resi 2.
I mean,
Or
Resi
both.
2
Yeah,
still
I
applies.
did mean Resi
Yeah.
4, but Resi 2 still applies, yeah.
They're like meaningful remakes, yeah,
Yes.
in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think this one is slightly. It's still bad, and I still think it's stupid, but like it's not as bad as the Last of Us 2 one. That was crazy.
Which already had a remaster.
Yeah. And like it was like a year after its fucking release. The game was like it didn't even like go into like a fucking sale, and they're like, we're remastering it. Huh? I don't get it. But yeah. It's just them just sort of banking on what works, isn't it? They're playing it safe. And this is something that will earn them quite a pretty penny, I think, because I think when you initially make a game like this, and even though it's sold great, the margins are still, I don't think they make a crazy amount of money, like a decent amount, more so than like Spider-Man, because they don't have to pay for like the licensing and all that kind of stuff. So, but like with a remaster like this, like it doesn't cost that much to give it a new facelift and a new lick of paint, and they're going to get a crap ton of sales for it. So this shit just works. So yeah.
I guess it's like Horizon has like the reputation of that IP has like slowly like whittled away over the years. I don't know if you guys have felt that. Like when Horizon was first announced, everybody was like, holy shit. And it's a real like unicorn as well in terms of the sales it got. Like it really sold really well. Like almost as well as Spider-Man, I think. Like new IPs don't sell that well, like ordinarily. That's so rare. And I think it's just because Guerrilla Games did such a good job, like with the concept of the game. It was just so you've never seen anything like it before, had you? Yeah.
I remember telling my mum about it. I was like, it's about robots and it's about dinosaurs. And she was like, that sounds awesome. And I went,
exactly.
you've also got a bow. And she was like, what? Like,
yeah. It's such a great elevator pitch. Like it's so easy to people to buy into that. And I think that shows in the sales of the original game. But then it was like, then it had the DLC and then it had the sequel, which was like knocked a bit for being, again, like quite a small upgrade. Like it wasn't much different from the first one. And then they had the DLC, and then what else have they? Now they've got the Lego game, and then there's the announced multiplayer game, and there's a show coming up as well, and there's a VR game, and so it really feels like this series is. It's 7 years old, and we're coming up to the point where there's there's going to be like over 7 bits of media for it. Do you know what I mean? Like something a year, and like people complain about that sort of frequency for games like Call of Duty, for Assassin's Creed. So I think people are just starting to get Horizon fatigue, you know, in that sense. So, and especially because like I've seen a lot of criticism of both games, maybe that they're just quite safe games. They're good. They are great games. Like I haven't played the second one, but I played the first one. I thought it was really good. I think I gave it like an 8.5. Combat super good. Like the concept designs was great. The story was whatever, but I liked the world building. You know, really pretty, obviously. So overall, these are great games. You know, but there's something about the safeness and the risk aversion like into these games that a lot of people are like, why do we have to redo this so many times? Like now, how safe do you want to play this? Like a remake of an already like safe game. So I think there's some of that is wearing and tearing into people when we're having these conversations as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm sure quite a lot of people rolled their eyes at this. You know, I'd even say like probably some Sony fanboys were even just like, seriously, like. I'll take it.
Well,
but
definitely,
like,
yeah.
seriously, like, can we not have something? Yeah, I don't know, just new, different. But every time Sony try and do that, it kind of blows up in their face. So, and it takes a long time to make a Horizon 3. So, have a remaster.
Well, this is it. Like, imagine if we found out that, like, just in theory, I guess, like, just as hypothetical, like, Fable wasn't coming out next year. They've said Fable is coming out next year, and they've delayed it 2 years because they're remaking Forza Horizon 4. I'd be like, why?
Yeah.
Just make the new stuff. Like you said, it's a very easy way for them to get a bit of cash grab to, like, you know, shave a bit off the top. And I always remember, like, when, you know, we had that podcast at the beginning of the year, you know, when Phil, like the Xbox C-suite, got on the Xbox official podcast and they explained to us what's going on, putting games on other platforms. Remember that? And the internet was going fucking crazy before any of this sort of happened. And one of the things Phil said when explaining, like giving the rationale for why they were doing it was, we're not winning the console wars. We're just fighting over the same customers. And we're behind. Like, we're behind enough where PlayStation can just lock stuff off for cheap, and that puts us in a really difficult position. I think some of that's blended actually with him, some of the stuff he said in the ABK courts as well. Anyway, point being, love it when that happens. For audio listeners, balloons just floated up on my screen. It was very distracting. Anyway, main point being that he said, when we look at growth, we have 2 options: monetize our existing user base more, or look for other user bases to monetize. Xbox have gone on the second route there, you know, for better or worse. I'm not saying there's a better or worse option. That's clearly caused some difficulties with the brand. We endlessly speak about it on the show, about, you know, the difficulties Xbox faces with messaging and PR and everything because of this. But PlayStation are clearly going for the first one, like mostly here. They're maybe doing a bit of both with putting their games on PC as well, but they're definitely doing the first here. They're trying to monetize their current user base more. So, like, I thought that was a really, like, this is a thing that sticks out in my mind of Phil saying that it was like, this seems really relevant here.
Yeah. It definitely just looks like they chose the other route, right? And I mean, yeah, it's safe to say that it does work for them. You know, I feel like they have got their established IPs, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you see everyone does it, you know, like Nintendo do it with their Marios and their Zeldas, and there's no reason, you know, we should bash PlayStation necessarily for doing it with their Horizons and their God of Wars and stuff like that. It would just be nice to see if Xbox could do something like that with one of their pillar IPs, you know, actually get some things out there quite consistently, and good sequels and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Would you be mad if, like, I don't know, say Gears got the same treatment, and within 7 years, Gears has 7 forms of multimedia to it?
I
Would
mean,
that
Gears 5
frustrate
came
you?
out in 20. Gears 5 came out in 2019, so that came
5 years ago.
the first Horizon came out in 2017, so not a massive difference. If they came out next year and said Gears 5 is getting a remaster, I'd be like, why?
Mm.
No, I wouldn't bother.
I'd be like, why? Because we're, and this is the problem. Where, like Hayden said earlier, we're at the point of diminishing returns, where unless there's a meaningful upgrade in the hardware, or there's been such a big difference, the technology has moved on enough where you can really like make a big difference. I don't really see the point, like in some of these late 2020 teens games getting remasters. I mean, whatever, you're right. You know, it will appeal to a specific base that want to play games at the best resolution, and maybe people who buy into the PS5 Pro as like the first time, like as we're seeing this gen, people are really hanging on to last gen more than ever. So maybe they jump in at the mid-gen refresh for the first time ever, and they say, "I never played that Horizon game, and it looks so fucking amazing." Like, so there's definitely going to be a base for it. Like, I definitely see that. It's just that if I'm the core PlayStation audience, just like in the example you've described, I'm going to be like, I'd rather you putting those resources into your newer stuff. I mean, obviously, it's really not the end of the world. It's just the internet being the internet. Just don't buy it. But I would be more like, can you put your resources into the new stuff, please, instead of just like constantly recycling the stuff we've already played.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hard agree.
Woohoo. And supposedly we've got a state of play coming on the horizon. Horizon.
No.
This is coming from Jeff Grubb. Apparently, it's not going to be super exciting. Apparently, there might even be an even less exciting remaster, another remaster at this state of play.
Is it Helldivers
try
2?
and call it.
Helldivers 2. I'm calling it.
Final Fantasy.
For Fantasy 7, yeah.
The new one.
Well, announced it for Xbox on their show, yeah. What came out around 2017? Maybe the first God of War?
Spider-Man? Did they do a Spider-Man remaster?
I think they have, actually.
Yeah, I think they have.
God of War's a good shout.
Hilarious. Yeah. What haven't they remastered? That will be easier for us to figure out. Astrobot
So
remastered.
It won't be Bloodborne, though. I can tell you that for free.
Maybe it'll get 96. Oh, God. If it was Bloodborne, that would set the internet on fire. Well, that's a moneymaker for them right there. Just do fucking Bloodborne. Yeah. Jesus Christ,
that's a meaningful upgrade, because that I would play that. I'd play the shit out of that.
And it was a long time ago. Yeah, it was quite a bit.
That'd be fine, I think.
Yeah.
That was the very beginning of last gen.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a slam dunk.
What else? What were the things like that they maybe Ghost of Tsushima?
Did they not do that, or was that director's cut? Am I thinking of?
Oh, they definitely remastered
the director's
cut. Remaster.
Yeah, they did improve like the frames and stuff like that on it. Plus, again, there's not really the game's so freaking stunning anyway. Even in its base form, it's ridiculous. Like, why remaster it? Yeah.
So that's interesting, I suppose. And like again, like it's weird because PlayStation are now in this kind of state. I mean, I've got here in the notes like PlayStation temperature check. I don't know, because like they haven't had a showcase in like 3 years, like a proper one. The one that they did have was received quite poorly, if you remember. I don't know. Do people care that much? Or are they actually in a bit of a slump now? Or does it not matter because they do have these like occasional big hits, like even though it has been sparse? I mean, what do we think?
Ooh.
I can't think back to when the Sony showcase was. Was it Christmas last year? Or like November time?
It's such a good question.
They had that one quite recently with like Stellar Blade and stuff like that, didn't they? Well, it wasn't recently, but it was.
That's just a state of play, though.
Oh yeah.
It's not like a full showcase. Like I think because they did the full showcase, I think last year, and it was put up against Xbox's showcase last year, which was a pretty good one. You know, it had like the Starfield Direct, and it revealed South of Midnight and some Fable gameplay in there as well. It was a pretty good one. But PlayStation's one kind of was not.
The PlayStation one, was that the one that had Death Stranding 2? Was it that one?
That was a state of play again. They showed that state of play, I think earlier this year, actually. Yeah. So
yeah.
That's the
I
one I
think
was
they
thinking
showed
of, Caden.
Spider-Man. Maybe Spider-Man? Spooner Man?
Spearman?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that just says it, really. They do kind of just
Yeah.
blend together, don't they? You can't really, you don't really remember their big stage showcases and their state of plays. They kind of just blend into the same thing. For the life of me, I can't even remember. So,
Maybe a better way to frame the question would be like, when we think back to like 2018, like the middle to the end of the Xbox One and PS4 gen, we were like, man, PlayStation is crushing it. Like we were all like that. And we're like, man, Xbox keeps fucking up, like hot off the heels of Crackdown 3, you know.
oh god,
And the release date of Sea of Thieves as well, you know, and State of Decay 2, like we had like these back-to-back games which were launching in like the mid 60s, and Crackdown even lower. Has that changed? You know, like 5, 6, 7 years later, like has that reputation changed with where we are today after what's happening with PlayStation and Xbox? You know, like with like Concord, but then also Astrobot. Like, I guess that's what I'm kind of asking. Like, has that shifted for you in your vibes, in your vibe heart?
I saw an image earlier this week that like it was comparing AAA games this year to Xbox, and on PlayStation had a lot, and Xbox had Hellblade, and it may have just been Hellblade. And Indiana Jones. That was the other one, but that's not out yet.
But what would you mean? Because
And
like
that's
Stellar Blade isn't a first party game though.
Yeah, but it's still like a big exclusive game. I didn't think I mentioned. I don't think it was Stellar Blade that was on it, but they're still like first party, like big Sony games, or even the big exclusive games that were on PlayStation, I suppose.
Right.
But yeah.
So like, what does that like? So is that kind of the feeling to you that like, despite all of this, PlayStation is still putting out games that are only available on their console, and that's kind of still trumping everything Xbox is doing? Like, what's that? What does that mean to you?
It's not trumping everything that they're doing, but it's trumping like the casual market side of things in regards to whether you want to invest in Sony or Xbox or PC or whatever, for sure. But yeah, it's been mentioned 1,000 times.
So the exclusive content, yeah, it's still, you know, it's still.
Yeah, I still think people are very exclusively minded. I still think that's the mindset everybody has, unfortunately. Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I feel like PlayStation has kind of remained the same for a while, in my opinion. I don't really think they've done anything to shift my temperature towards them. I feel like if anything, they've gotten just a little bit colder, like in my opinion. They're just, I don't know, they're kind of just still kind of riding off the massive high they had back in those glory years, like right at the beginning of the gen and stuff like that. I don't really feel like I feel like they're kind of just sitting on their biscuit, not really risking it, you know. I don't know. Like, that's my sort of temperature check on them. I feel like Xbox have done a lot better at just pushing more content out at a much more steady pace, like in terms of like releases and stuff like that, and like good consistent scores. And I feel like a good mix of genres, and yeah, I just feel like they've done that a lot better over the recent like year or two than Sony have. I really feel like Sony have kind of just been a little bit checked out, to be honest. Yeah.
Right, so we've got a couple of like different themes here, haven't we? You know, it's kind of like, well, ultimately at the end of the day, PlayStation is still getting more exclusive content, and that's the seller for me. And we can look at that in a number of ways, can't we? Whether it's like, it doesn't really matter if it's first party or not. Like, ultimately, someone's looking at the console, the package, and they're saying Final Fantasy is only on PlayStation for now, so I'm going to buy that, even though, you know, we really think those games are going to end up on Xbox at some point. But that might be enough to get someone in the door, you know, if we feel about the temperature. And then we've also kind of got this idea that PlayStation's output has kind of slowed down a bit. They're maybe playing it quite safe, maybe with what they used to. And then like any experimental stuff they've tried, Concord has been maybe historically disastrous. Maybe being the
it
worst
has less
flop
players
you've
than
ever
Redfall.
seen. Yeah, 0.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course we look over at the Xbox side, and they are taking this difference there in strategy, and it's not necessarily good or bad. It remains to be seen. But then there is like Game Pass, and they are continuing to do well with Game Pass, and the games Xbox are putting out like generally are hitting like a pretty good quality bar, despite not having like a pinnacle game of the year game still, for a couple of years now, maybe going back to Forza Horizon 5. Tim, shall I get started? Shall I do it?
No.
I knew I was going to find a way to get it. I knew I was going to find a way to get it into the show today.
No, you get that started. I'll stop the stream.
Okay, right, I'll hold back then. Right, so since Forza Horizon 5 was robbed of a Game of the Year nomination in 2021, Xbox hasn't really had a Game of the Year level game since then. It would be a bit cheeky, I think, to try and claim Deathloop. I don't really think that counts.
No.
Whereas PlayStation is having this kind of like quality over quantity cadence, like despite all of this. So last year was Spider-Man, right? And then there was Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 16 isn't first party, but for now it's still only available on PlayStation until it eventually comes to PC and Xbox, which seems like it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
on
all
PC now, isn't it?
That's all it was.
It's on PC now.
I don't think Final Fantasy 16 is on PC yet. Maybe I'm wrong.
15. How do I do numeral again?
XV1.
Yeah, it's on PC.
September 17th. 2 days ago. Well, there you go. That's news to me. And then this year, Astrobot and Final Fantasy Rebirth, right? Like both like 90 plus games, like they're going to be in Game of the Year conversations. And then the year before that, in 2022, was I think it was just God of War and something I'm forgetting too. Which again, God of War was a Game of the Year nomination. And I even forgot about Helldivers this year. Like even though it's not critically acclaimed game, it had a zeitgeist moment, and it probably will appear in the Game of the Year conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the difficulty we're up against. I think the conversation has changed a bit, but generally the tone is quite similar, even though it's just a bit different. Like people are still like feeling a bit lukewarm on Xbox, and generally people still feel PlayStation is the place to be. I mean, would you say that's like a fair like summary?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I always think PlayStation do a good job at just, like you said, with these games like Final Fantasy and 16 Rebirth, Black Myth Wukong, all that kind of stuff. They do a really good job at kind of masking.
I'm just going to stop you on the Black Myth Wukong. That's not it's meant to release on Xbox.
I know.
There was just
yeah. We spoke about it tirelessly.
Okay,
there was no issue.
Yes, it's not an exclusive. But,
I know it's not exclusive, but what I was going to say was it kind of creates that illusion that it is, right? And people flock to that platform because they're like, oh, Wukong, it's not an Xbox. They like, people don't dig like past the surface to just be like, oh, it's coming on Xbox later, so it's not an exclusive. They just see it's PlayStation or PC. Oh, I'll go PlayStation, so I think they do a good job at doing that as well, and just, well, essentially money hatting shit,
and and that is what I think begs the really interesting question of like, what's a real benefit for you as a gamer versus what's the like perceived benefit. Because if Xbox came out tomorrow and they took a poll, Philly went to Twitter, he's had a few too many whiskeys, and he's like, boys, girls, Daddy Satty has given me a check and I've got a crazy idea. We cut Game Pass, gone forever. But we start giving you exclusive content. We stop porting stuff to other consoles, and we start nicking some third-party content. You know that Dragon Age at the end of the year? We're going to lock it up for a year. You know that fucking, what's coming next year? GTA, we're going to lock it up for 3 months. Big releases, they just start doing things like that. Or they say, we're going to keep it as it is. Some games will eventually go to other platforms. We're not going to lock up other games, but you will get loads and loads and loads of stuff into Game Pass, and loads of it will be day one as well. Like, what would you choose? Are you choosing A or B?
B.
Hey, I think the answer's fucking obvious, to be honest with you, right? Like, I think as a gamer, the obvious is so crystal clear, but I think, as Tim said, it's just part of PlayStation strategy. They're really good at making you feel like a valued like customer. Like, this is the place to be. There's more stuff here than there is in other places, even though it's less valuable. And you don't really get that until you're in the ecosystem, which I think is part of the reason why Game Pass has like kind of stagnated a bit, because you don't really get it until you're there and you're getting this regular subscription of games.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
I feel you, man. I feel you. Yeah, I feel like they even did something similar with Baldur's Gate as well. Like, I know that it was a technical thing and it was the Series S and X thing, but
supposedly,
yeah, supposedly. But it was just too late. Like, I feel like, oh, I'm sure it made like a good amount of sales on Xbox and stuff like that, but like, I just feel like anyone that would have caved to buy this incredible, like, everyone is talking about it RPG, they would have bought it on PlayStation at that point, or they would have got it on PC. So again, just creating that illusion, whether that's just like dumb luck because they're like, oh shit, they can't do split screen for the Series S. What a fucking win, bless up. Or whether or not they just did something cheeky under the table, like they supposedly did with Wukong. But yeah, it's kind of like it's a little bit like, yeah, it's a little bit fake, isn't it? Basically.
But and that's I think it's part of it. I think it's why like the Xbox community gets bad rep to some degree, because we're like, a lot of us tend to be quite vocal of like, no, like seriously, this is good. Like this is good. And then everybody looks and you're like, on that fucking joke of a platform, are you kidding me? You can't even play the monkey game. You can't even play Final Fantasy. You know, like. So I guess that's like where it is for me, where it's like, I'm not like a day one gamer anymore. For the most part, I'm okay with waiting for stuff to come over, and I really do appreciate the value that Game Pass brings. It's not, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect platform, as we'll get to in a moment. But I think when you do place people in front of that A or B choice, I think most people would choose that. It's just that PlayStation are really good with positioning themselves. And you think about the campaigns that go into their big AAA titles. God of War was fucking everywhere. When I lived in Birmingham, it was plastered up like a 40-story building. Like, Kratos was just like on my way to work. He was like towering over me, like whispering to me. It was crazy.
That's funny. I like that.
Nice. All right. Shall we move on to our last story for today then?
Sure.
I think that's the last one. Yeah, it is. So, Caden, you may have missed this. I think you would have been here for the original story, which was, you may remember a while back, Xbox was like, we're getting rid of Game Pass console. You may remember there was a tier beneath Xbox. Yes. No, there's tier beneath Ultimate, and it was called Game Pass console, and it was fucking stupid. It didn't give you online multiplayer, but it did give you Game Pass. It like. I don't know what part of the Venn diagram was meant to be paying for that, like, because who's going to do that but not want online multiplayer? So anyway, so they eventually said a few months back, yeah, okay, you're right, this is stupid. We'll get rid of it, and we're going to introduce the standard tier instead. So console's gone, and we're going to have Xbox Game Pass standard. This was a big thing because in standard, they then said no day one games. And everyone was like, oh, you know, well, that's kind of weird, because when you first introduced Game Pass, like, that was a major selling point that you said. You said first party games that you publish are going to be in there day one. And now you're saying that there is like the middle tier. It's not even like it's the budget tier. The middle tier doesn't have that anymore. So that's a bit cheeky in and of itself. And then it launches, right? It launched this week. And we find out that not only is that true, you know, no day one games, but there's loads of games missing from it, even like non-first party games. And I've got a list of just like general things. So it would make Starfield might make sense because the game's only been out for a year now. So maybe they're looking for like, you know, 2 years or 18 months before they like drop it into the standard tier, if that makes sense, like moving it from Ultimate to standard. Maybe that makes sense. But then there's Forza Horizon 5. Game came out in 2021.
It's a bit
Why
weird.
is that not on Game Pass standard? Then there's Flight Sim. Game came out in 2020. Why is that not there? How about Modern Warfare 3? How about Path of the Goddess that isn't even a first party game? How about Octopath Traveler
Yeah,
2 or
wondering what
Payday 3?
the decision behind some games not being in the. Yeah, I can see that being very confusing, and you're essentially forced into going into the higher tier, which obviously if someone feels forced to do something, they won't do it.
Right. And so
That's one. Yeah.
I guess we don't know the full details, but like it's maybe because all of these games were day one games, like first party or third party, and that's the stipulation there. And if so, maybe it's because when the deal was made with the publisher or the developer, wherever, they said that it would be launching into Game Pass console. So Game Pass standard technically
Isn't real yet.
yeah, like what they didn't technically have the deal to move it into this subscription tier. So they wouldn't be allowed to do that. That's a very generous interpretation of what's going on here. Like potentially that could be happening.
It's quite generous. I can see that being a thing because obviously contracts and deals and stuff are anal as shit. But that's quite. Everyone else seemed to figure it out.
And it's just like if it is the case that that isn't true, why not just be upfront about this? I don't understand. Why not just say we made licensing deals, so there is going to be some missing to begin with. Those gaps will be filled as we move forward. Why not get ahead of this messaging? Like they knew this was happening. Like why not get ahead of this and just explain this to the user base?
I mean, has that so no statements been made on this? It's literally just
Nope.
come out. Okay, all right. Yeah,
People just noticed that it was people were going through their Game Pass subscription, like, how come Flight Sim's not in here? How come Forza Horizon's not in here? Yeah.
Yeah,
just
it's
COD.
really it's like COD 2. It's it is really weird, and they like you said, they just need to come out and just say a reason why, because otherwise it's just gonna, like Hayden said, it's just gonna cause that just immediate confusion. And is this going to keep happening, or is this like, when are we getting these and all that kind of stuff? And it's just going to get to a point where it's going to take like 3 separate fucking Google searches just to figure out what games are in your tier and what tier you should buy. And then you're scrolling through, you're looking at the games, and you're like, oh, is my game in there? Control F, Octopath. Oh, it's not in that one. Control F. It's just, it's awful, man. Like, you just need to get ahead of the messaging, and like Dex said, and just do. It's really weird. I don't know. Xbox are so shit with this sort of stuff. It's unreal. They're so fucking shit. They just hope people won't notice. Oh, maybe they won't notice stuff. It's not there.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. They're fucking like gaslighting them as well. Like, I don't know. It could be there if you search properly.
It was there when I looked.
You giving it a proper search.
Try going on the filter. Try using the filter button up there. See what happens.
It's I before the E for Starfield. Maybe you spelled it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like the button at the bottom, isn't there, that says "surprise me." It just shows you a random game. It's like, have you tried clicking that like a couple hundred times? Like, I think it will come up eventually.
Could come up. Yeah. We thought we'd incorporate a fun little game. You can't actually choose what you download. You just click the surprise me button and see what you get.
Just total inability to get out in front of any sort of negative message. It must just be because they're such a massive company and they're just so slow moving. They get out ahead of the good stuff, but the bad stuff, they're like, let's announce another controller.
Yeah, which is just a skin. Yeah, people have been begging for an actual fucking controller to compete with the DualShock. No. We'll just give them a fucking Pride skin or something. Hello Kitty skin. Pride was probably my best choice.
No, it's the,
maybe it seemed like a dick.
The Deadpool Wolverine controllers. There you go.
Oh yeah,
that's
there
the
you
one.
go.
Yeah,
there'll probably be like an.
I did that
one.
They had that thing with the last round of layoffs, not this one, where they were laid off, and then like moments later, the official Xbox account was like announcing our Feel the Burn controller, and everyone was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You got to talk to each other, man." And then they took the post down, like they took it down till a week later, but it was like Feel the Burn, like Xbox lays off 2,000 people.
Yeah. our new redundancy controller. It's just got like all the employee IDs on it for the people that get made redundant.
It's just got crying emojis on it. Like cardboard boxes.
Oh, we should be laughing about it, but yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. So when did this Games Pass standard actually officially come out and people have noticed this downgrade thing? Where I'm not.
It's a good question. I think maybe Tuesday this week, which would have been the 17th of September.
So Tuesday, what was it? It's basically Friday at this point. They just need to do something. They need to say something quick. And just
because people are just confused. That's all it is.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
As per usual.
Yeah,
it's the life of an Xbox fan. Honestly, it just is. And this is exactly what we were talking about with the Xbox PlayStation thing. Like, it's just being an Xbox fan is just a state of stupor and confusion while they stuff us with Game Pass games in a spoon. They're just like, fucking shut up. There you go. Here's Path of the Goddess. Here's COD. Here's Diablo DLC.
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah,
Here's
stop
a price
complaining.
increase.
Yeah.
But you don't notice it. You won't notice it. We promise.
Yeah. Man.
Oh man, that's funny.
It's funny stuff. All right, well, that's all the stories for the day, guys. Anything else? Have we talked about anything else? Kane, how's your beard?
Fine.
so defensive.
He's like self-conscious about it.
I had to shave a couple days ago because it was pretty mangled after.
Oh yeah, that was
living
big.
in a hangar.
Yeah, it was just big.
I had to tidy it up a bit. So it's a little bit shorter than it should be right now.
Yeah.
How bushy did it get?
Oh.
Like, we're talking like.
Well, no, it wasn't that. I'd probably say it was like. I mean, you guys are probably more like Dex.
No,
not like Dex.
Mine is very
shit,
tamed right now. Yeah,
smelly.
Yeah, I could smell it as well.
Come on.
Yeah.
You don't mean it.
Well, you're back in Civilization now, Caden. So
that feels fantastic.
Congratulations. And also thank you for being like the only person to have like some sort of semblance of a background. You know, I really appreciate that.
That's why I've been sat like this. I wanted you guys to finally mention it. You know
I like it. You sat off center. I think it looked great. Like, we keep getting dinged in the comments, like like when it's just me and Tim, they're like, you guys just have beige backgrounds, and one of you blurs your background. Like, well, this is so unappealing to look at.
Hopefully here, I'm going to put my my skateboards that I've got.
Oh, nice.
Which would be pretty sick.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking to do some stuff soon. But...
That's about it. Look, because I've got loads of like posters in front of me here, which obviously you guys can't see, so it's not really ideal. But I've got my sign posters up there, got my fucking arcade sticks here, got my toys there. But it's not really. I can't really show it off because you can't see
is
it.
that Hoover? Are you pointing at Hoover?
Hoover?
No.
Got myself a little towel.
You need to actually, you don't really have much of an excuse because you've got like your own room in there and you have paraphernalia. Like, move it around, get it behind you.
Yeah, no. I am gonna get. I'm planning on getting some like floating shelf here, and I'm gonna mount some stuff. And yeah, I am planning on it, but I just haven't got around to it.
Nice.
But I can't put my cabinet in front of here because there's a radiator, so it doesn't really work, and it kind of stick out too much. So I have to have it like on the wall, basically. But yeah, I'm working on it. Don't you fucking worry about it. Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, that sounds good. I think we did good today. Good job, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to quickly refresh my Twitter feed just to check, make sure there's no massive breaking stories going up as we speak.
Hopefully not.
Hey, God of War Ragnarok is now available on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. That's nice, isn't it?
Now available on Xbox.
Wow. All right. This has been great. This has been episode 146 of Quick Resume Podcast. We'll be back next week to talk about games
Ooh,
on
will we?
platforms where Xbox games are. Oh,
I don't think I'll be able to make
to the
it.
wind down my sails there, man.
Yeah, I don't think. Caden's lagged out a bit. I don't think I'm going to be around next week because I literally am driving to my parents very early Friday for my flight. For my flight later in Friday, so I could be on, but I feel like I'll just be finishing up and packing and actually getting ready for my holiday the next day.
Are you telling me if we don't do it next week, we won't have a show for 3 weeks?
Unless I send you the templates and you download OBS.
Do you think I got fucking time for that?
I don't.
mean, I'm literally sending you the templates.
You know it won't be that simple. You
But-
know that.
Well, maybe. It's a maybe from me. It's not a guarantee. So yeah, potentially it could be 3 weeks.
But we can always do something like Wednesday, right? Like just one thing, and then you can leave guilt-free, and I won't.
I was gonna
Running
leave
body.
guilt-free regardless, but I mean,
Not true. Are you hearing this, Kane? He just does not care, does he?
Disgusting.
Just don't care, does he?
I'm fucking ending this stream. I'm being gaslit for going on holiday. I deserve this.
No, I know you do. I'm just saying we could do the show before you go. Have
Fine.
a great time. I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope you have a magical time.
Oh, because I've had such a good time tonight. Bye, everyone.
I think he was being sarcastic.
Always
me
being
sick.
sarcastic. Yeah, but I am ending the show. Yeah, so bye, everyone.
That's fine. We'll do it then. We'll end on
Cheers.
this really happy note. Yeah, great. Bye.